Hey guys! Today we'll be covering a 2020 drama film called Pawn. At the start of the movie, we are taken to the China-Korea summit, where the two sets of ministers are discussing a serious topic. Sun-yi, a beautiful Korean girl, is acting as an interpreter between them, and during the interval, everyone praises her for her good work. While she seems very happy outside, things are very different inside. Turns out that it is Sun-yi's first day at work, and she has never met ministers of such importance. She is extremely nervous about messing up. To calm herself down, Sun-yi heads to the restroom, but just then gets a call from her Uncle John Bae, who tells her that he has finally found the person that they have been looking for the past 10 years. Hearing this, Sun-yi's mood immediately changes, and she leaves in the middle of the conference and heads straight to the airport. The movie then cuts to the past, to the year 1993 in Incheon, Korea. Two retired army officers who now work as debt collectors, Jong Bae and Dusook, are wandering through the streets. Here, we learn that both of them have been single since their army days and hence live together. Dusook still regards himself as the chief and continues to issue orders to Jong Bae. After some time, they suddenly spot a woman named Mi Young-ya, who hasn't paid her debt for the last 2 months. When Mi Young-ya notices them, she immediately starts running away with her 9-year-old daughter, Sun-yi. However, she is quickly caught by the duo, who then chastise her about the $750 that she has to pay. Mi Young-ya plays the sympathy card and tries explaining that she is late because of her husband's death, but the duo are in no mood to listen to her. Instead, Dusook snatches up the little daughter and mentions that he will only return her once the money is paid. In this way, little Sun-yi is taken as a pawn. While departing, she screams for her mother, but a devastated Mi Young-ya can only watch, as if something is stopping her. Following this, a helpless Mi Young-ya heads to the garage where her husband used to work. She tries asking for some money, but the owner scolds her, calling her an illegal immigrant. Here, it is revealed that Mi Young-ya is actually a Chinese native, and she has entered South Korea illegally. Before leaving, the owner informs Mi Young-ya that her husband has run away with another girl. Elsewhere, Dusook tries to comfort little Sun-yi by handing her a toy, but to no success. Elsewhere, Mi Young-ya reaches the phone booth and calls someone for help. Luckily, the person on the other side agrees to send some money. As a result, she quickly contacts Dusook and informs him that she has the cash ready and will be delivering it the next day. Just as Mi Young-ya thinks that her problems are over, 2 police officers suddenly arrive and arrest her for being an illegal immigrant. In the next scene, Dusook and Co reach home and he provides the little girl with the room to sleep in. Later, Jong Bae worries about what would happen if Mi Young-ya reports the incident to the police, but Dusook assures him that she won't do so, as she is an illegal immigrant. The next day, Dusook and Jong Bae are chastised by their boss for kidnapping the girl. He then orders the duo to immediately return the girl and collect the money due. Following the order, Jong Bae and Dusook attempt to escort the little girl back, but on their way, they are stuck in a traffic jam. Just then, Sun-yi senses the opportunity and escapes. An intense chase ensues, but the little girl manages to evade the duo and heads back home with only 1 shoe. However, she is disappointed to find the house empty, with no signs of her mother. Later, Dusook gets a call from the police station and finds out Mi Young-ya is being held there. After reaching her, he confronts Mi Young-ya about the money, but finds out that she is being deported back to China. Nevertheless, she hands him the number of Sun-yi's Uncle Choi, saying that he will pay off the debt and also take care of the girl. Before leaving, an emotional Mi Young-ya hands Dusook a pager, along with a photo of herself with Sun-yi. Back at Sun-yi's house, she packs all her belongings and heads out, leaving a note saying, "I'll find you, Mom." Dusook arrives a few moments later, but only manages to find the note. Elsewhere, little Sun-yi is wandering around the streets alone, trying to find her mother. She is completely unaware of the fact that her mother has been deported back to China, so the little girl is hopeful about finding her mother. At night, when she reaches a secluded part of the city, a homeless man suddenly approaches her from behind and tries to kidnap her. Fortunately, Dusook arrives in the nick of time and saves her. Following this, he reveals to Sun-yi that her mother has left Korea. This makes the little girl burst into tears, and Dusook also becomes emotional. As a result, he takes her back to the house to wait for her uncle to arrive. With each passing day, Sun-yi becomes more comfortable with her uncles, Dusook and Jong Bae. The duo are also enjoying their time with the little girl, as they never had their own family. Everyone spends their time happily, then one day, Sun-yi's uncle suddenly calls Dusook and informs him that he'll be picking up his niece the next day. Hearing this, Dusook and Jong Bae become sad, but they nonetheless decide to make their final day with the girl a memorable one. Later, they head out and get Sun-yi a wonderful dress, which makes her happy. While returning, the little girl jokingly gives Dusook the nickname Park Soon-bo. At night, John Bae tries cheering up the little girl with a farewell cake, but she seems uninterested, as she doesn't want to leave her uncle's. The following day, Dusook and Sunyi go to the bus stop to meet Sunyi's uncle. Dusook hands Sunyi a pager and tells her to send a message if she's ever in trouble. He also buys her a CD player so that she can listen to songs by her favorite artist. Seeing the gift, Sunyi delightfully hugs Dusook. Just then, Sunyi's uncle arrives and introduces himself as Choi Byung-dal. Choi claims to have met the little girl but can't remember her name. Sunyi is also unfamiliar with her uncle. Choi then pays off the debt and takes Sunyi with him, but neither Dusook nor Sunyi seem happy about their separation. Days pass by, but Dusook becomes increasingly distracted as he misses Sunyi dearly. When he can't bear it anymore, he messages Sunyi but gets no reply. He even tries contacting Choi, but his wife immediately hangs up the call. Worried, he somehow finds Choi's address and confronts him. The old man, who appears drunk, first assures him that Sunyi is living a good life. But when Dusook thrashes him, he reveals that Sunyi has been sold to a lady for just $300. Hearing this, Dusook berates the old man and attempts to learn the location, but the latter has no clue. Before leaving, he also takes Sunyi's backpack along with him. In the next scene, we see little Sunyi working at a bar. The mistress there orders her to do menial tasks like cleaning the dishes, toilet, and so on. Despite being extremely young, Sunyi does her work without any complaints, as if she has the mentality of a grown-up. Later, Sunyi walks into her room, steals a phone, and leaves a message for her mother, telling her to come soon. Elsewhere, Dusook finds the pager inside Sunyi's backpack and gets her message. He instantly replies to her by sending his own number, but forgets to send the area code. So when Sunyi receives the message and tries to connect with him, she fails. Back at the bar, Sunyi gets injured when a drunk man smashes his glass against the nearby wall. Despite the serious injuries, the mistress simply patches the little girl up with makeup. Elsewhere, it finally dawns on Dusook that he forgot to mention his area code. So he leaves another message and waits for a response. A few moments later, Sunyi finally calls crying and gives him her location. This worries Dusook and he immediately heads to the location along with John Bae. When the duo finally reach the bar, they are shocked to see Sunyi's condition. Wasting no time, Dusook breaks the glass door with his bare hands and rescues Sunyi, who hugs him tightly. He then confronts the mistress and berates her for making a child work. After this, he takes Sunyi straight to the hospital. When he finds out that the girl will require a minor surgery to fix her cuts, he sells his car to manage the expenses. After a few weeks when Sunyi has fully recovered, Dusook tries enrolling her in school, but the principal refuses as she is not a Korean citizen. As a result, Dusook legally adopts Sunyi and becomes her father. From that day on, Sunyi finally starts living a normal life. She starts attending school regularly, and because of the unconditional love from her father and uncle, she excels in her studies. Time passes by, and she is now studying at college. One day after her class, Dusook arrives on his motorcycle as usual to pick her up. Just then, Myung-ya also arrives, but after seeing her daughter happy, she leaves without talking to her. In the next scene, Dusook becomes concerned when Sunyi fails to return home on time one night. As he waits anxiously, a man drops Sunyi home while carrying her on his back because she is drunk. Dusook and John Bae begin interrogating the man and find out he is a good person who will soon become a doctor. Just then, Dusook receives a call from Sunyi's grandmother, who tells him to pay a visit to Sunyi's mother, as she is gravely ill. Being the kind man that he is, Dusook immediately takes Sunyi to visit her mother in China. As soon as she meets her mother, both of them become emotional and start crying. After a while, Myung-ya expresses her gratitude to Dusook for taking good care of her daughter. Dusook also learns that Myung-ya has just a few days left before she passes away. Before leaving, Myung-ya requests Dusook to find Sunyi's father so that the pair can meet. One day, Sunyi notices her father's torn shoes and decides to purchase a new pair for him. Since she doesn't have the money to pay for them, she starts working at a factory and lies to her father, saying that she's on a school trip. When she finally earns enough money, she buys the shoes. Elsewhere, Dusook is trying his best to fulfill Myung-ya's last wish of reuniting her daughter with her father. While he's at it, he feels a sharp pain in his head, but decides to ignore it. After a while, he finally finds Sunyi's father and discovers that he has started a new family. Despite this, he keeps his promise and reconnects Sunyi with her estranged father. Later, as Sunyi is having an emotional encounter with her biological father, Dusook returns home. Thinking that Sunyi will now leave with her biological father, Dusook starts getting stressed, but his mood quickly changes when Sunyi calls him and addresses him as Dad for the first time. She then asks him to pick her up, and an elated Dusook agrees. Unfortunately, on his way, he again feels the sharp pain, and this time, he falls unconscious. Oblivious of the situation, Sunni'S keeps on waiting. In the next scene, we are again taken to the present, where Sunni'S is in the car with her uncle John Bae. The two have been looking for Dusook for the last 10 years. Soon, they reach the said location where Dusook is supposed to be, but sadly, it is not the same person. Devastated, they decide to return home, and on the way back, Sunni'S notices the same board she saw as a child and asks to inquire about it at the police station. There, a police officer mentions that there is no one by the name of Dusook in the city. However, Sunni'S suddenly remembers the nickname she gave her father, Park Soon-bo, and asks the officer to search for it. Surprisingly, there is someone by that name in a mental institution. They rush to the place and discover that Dusook is suffering from a neurological disease. He cannot speak, but only writes 2 words in his diary, Park Soon-bo and Pawn. Hence, they named him Park Soon-bo. They are finally reunited with Dusook after 10 long years. Seeing his pitiful condition, both Sunni'S and John Bae break down into tears. Dusook cannot remember the duo, but he still has Sunni'S favorite CD player with him. As an emotional Sunni'S prepares to present him with the shoes she bought him 10 years earlier, she finds out that Dusook has been saving up for her future. This makes her even more emotional, and she hugs her father tightly, promising to take care of him. Dusook also sheds a tear, as if he remembers his daughter, and the movie comes to an end.